you get a break. Yeah.
Is everybody ready?
Okay, next report. Yep.
All right. So Babineaux's awesome. Question: the relationship that he has with she's an FBI agent.
Fabazio.
Oh my God.
That came out of nowhere for me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about it playing the character? Was it really easy to slide into that, or did you have to struggle with it? I feel like the audience did.
No, for me personally, I loved it. You know, it was an opportunity to kind of venture away from the procedural side of things for a bit. You know, I think that's my first non-procedural dialogue that had nothing to do with the case. So for me, I was like, hey guys, I can talk about other stuff outside of murder. I can do this. You know, so I didn't care how it happened. I was like, does it make sense? I don't know, but you know, but it makes sense for me in terms of having to do something, having to do something different and new. So for me, it was awesome. And Jessica Harmon, who plays Dale, it was just, you know, it's just great to work with. You know, I mean, she's so available and open and just a fun person. So it was, yeah. So I enjoyed it. It was great.
My standard question: what would you really like to see happen to your character? Like, if you had control over the direction of your character, what would you love to see happen?
You know what? This is, you know, with this show, because so many things happen, and also, obviously, I know what happens, and I think their answer to what happens with my character is better than any answer I can give. But obviously, getting closer to the truth. You know, getting closer to. You know, I think the fans do want Clive to be involved in, to know that there's a zombie world and zombie culture out there. But I always say, you know, once he finds out, it's opening, you know, Pandora's box. You know, that means there's, for him in his mind, that means there's vampires in the world. That means there's werewolves. That means there's Santa Claus. You know, there's a tooth fairy. You know, it opens up all that, you know, for him, because he does represent a real person, you know, in the real world that we live in. You know, in terms of watching Game of Thrones, his favorite show. It exists in our show. You know, he dressed up as Drogo, you know, and so I think it would be, but I think seeing what that real world reaction would be fun for me to play and for me to see, and I think for the fans to see as well. So I think just getting closer to this zombie culture.
What's been the hardest so far to play? Like, any particular moment that you thought was harder to really bring across than anything else?
You know, the hardest thing is probably just being playing everything straight, and because the outtakes, we laugh and we clown around, you know, but I can't. You know, I gotta sit there and hold it together, you know, and you know, just give the looks and things, and because it's not amusing to him. He's a tunnel vision guy. He's at work, where Malcolm would just be like, what? You know, I would say, what? I would say different things, you know, but not him. Not him. He's a very, very by the book. He's at work. He's very, very on tunnel vision and just focus on the case at hand. So that's been pretty. If anything had to be difficult, I would say that, just because I have to resist the temptation of laughing and clowning around. You know, I have to resist those urges.
Now, Babineaux, great detective, does his job,
Yeah.
but he kind of has an edge on things now that he's got Liv in her visions.
Yeah.
So, how does that make him feel, really? I mean, if you think about it, to know that he's got that kind of as a crutch, because he's got to be a great detective anyway, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, he does believe in psychics. You know, there was in the pilot episode, the scene was cut, but he did talk about his great aunt Debbie. I think it was Debbie. We tried it so long ago, but his great aunt was a psychic. He talks about how he goes and talks to her and gets advice from her. And so they kind of gave a story of why he believes that she's a psychic. But obviously, there's been results. You know, the proof is in the pudding. You know, it's like, if you don't think she's a psychic, I've solved 20 cases because of her. And so how do you explain that if she's not a psychic? So there's no one who can convince him anything different, because he's been so successful because of Liv and her visions. So.
No other detectives want to tap into that, do you think?
Sure. I think sure, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think, there is a moment coming out where Clive is a little possessive. Like, are you giving your vision to somebody else besides me?
There you go.
Like, hold on, no, hold on. This is an exclusive. Only I get these visions. So they do have a moment where he does get a little jealous when another detective comes up and he thinks he's working with him. So that was actually fun to play. And she's like, "No, Clive, what are you doing? I'm with you." Like, I'm with you.
I was going to ask if his belief in the supernatural is maybe why he's not fazed by Liv's personality shifts from week to week, or
Sure.
how does he rationalize her different wardrobes, different attitudes from week to week to week? Like, how does it make sense to him in his head?
Yeah, what he did say, there was like a throwaway line in 2 episodes ago where he did say, she takes on, he talks to Robbie, like, have you noticed? Like, because I've noticed, have you noticed? And then Robbie Lassa goes, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, he goes, what are you talking about? But he obviously does notice. He goes, I just roll with it because I got work to do. So it's not this big phenomenon, this big thing that he needs to have a big conversation about, because he's just a result-oriented person and is just getting the results. Although there was one episode that was tricky to play, was when she actually took on, it was episode 3 of the season, where she took on that wardrobe, like dressing all sexy, and I'm like, she looks like the victims, she looks like the witnesses, the people that were bringing into interrogate. And I feel like I'm not gonna say nothing. And they're like, no, you stay working on the job. You're not gonna say a thing. And I'm like, okay. Well, I won't say anything.
Those are the funniest moments, though, honestly, when we see after she's had the braids and she's starting to take that personality on, we're like, okay, what's bothering her? What's his take on this one? And you're just like, yeah, okay then, so.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He just got, I'm gonna let this roll. I'm gonna just roll with it. Okay, let's move on. So he always has let's take a minute. Let's keep it going.
Once Babineaux finds out about zombies, which I'm assuming is going to happen at some point, would you like to play a zombie? Would you like his character to be turned into a zombie?
See, I don't know. We have a joke on set where it's like, we don't know if I can rock the zombie look. I don't know how to, we're like, I think I'll look more ashy than pale. I don't know if it's gonna work. I just don't know if we got enough lotion. I don't know. It's
Actually meant the character.
we. I don't know. You can pull that. I don't know if he could pull that off. But and I don't think Clive got the palate for brain eating. Maybe if Liv put out a brain eating cookbook and he takes some of those recipes and he take,
He's got all the recipes.
Yeah, then maybe he could work that out. But I don't know. I don't think Clive would take it to the zombie world, being a zombie too well. Yeah, it's a tough sell. It's a tough sell.